Right. Okay. Uh, hello, Amanda.
Hi, Tanya. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for meeting me up on a Sunday, beautiful morning, or it's a day. And I know
Afternoon.
afternoon, you've been so busy with your kids, and
Yes.
you've got 3 kids under the age of 7, right?
Under the age of 4.
Oh my God.
Nearly.
Yes, and
Nearly 5.
this woman is raising her family and running a business. So thank you so much for finding time and
My
making.
pleasure, Tanya. I love being here.
Oh, that's good.
And thank
So,
you too for meeting me at such short notice.
that's all good. So we're in a very short time,
Mhm.
and we'll stay here for about 20-30 minutes, see how it
Yeah.
goes. And really, first Amanda will introduce herself, then I'll
Yeah.
introduce myself, and we'll declare our purpose and intention.
Yeah. So we're just here today to talk about ourselves as practitioners and what we do, and then also about the sessions that we've had with each other. So I'll start. Obviously hypnotherapist, practitioner, Reiki, and so light worker, I guess you could say. I help people, all people, it doesn't matter who you are, where you've come from, what gender you identify with, everybody step into their power. And basically, in order to do that, you need to reclaim your self-worth. So I'm passionate about people valuing themselves and learning to love themselves, because self-love is the hardest love to get acquainted with. So it's my passion to help people get there, because once you love yourself and once you're in your power, everything in life just becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So self-worth, self-love is all the starting points for any kind of healing journey.
Absolutely.
Really reclaiming yourself in your own authentic paths. Not someone who made me. First, before we become ourselves, we become someone else's expectations. We are really a product of our cultural conditioning, family conditioning, and religion. Everything makes us, and then through our life experiences, we adapt to the environment, our social environment, first of all. And then there comes time in our life when we can't be ourselves, we can't be happy, we just get stuck because there is so much pressure of this conditioning, and it's almost like we're lost.
So lost.
We're lost. I don't know, who am I? I'm okay maybe at my work, or I'm okay with my relationships, but other parts of my life, maybe my health is not so good, or anything, or maybe money is not so good. So we feel this stuckness and the heaviness, and we don't know how to overcome it. So when things like this happen, it's usually a sign that it's time for you to go back to yourself. It's time for you to look inside and dismantle some of those beliefs and blocks that are stopping you.
So, I call it the unbecoming.
Okay. That's right. I love this. Before you become, so first you become someone according to the environment, then you have to unbecome to become yourself again, right?
Yeah.
So it's all it's all a process, and everything is a process. And today's intention for Amanda and myself to come together is that we want to share our own experiences of having sessions on each other as hypnotherapists. Sometimes we do get clients' testimonials. They are all anonymous, but I think a lot of people are really curious, and a lot of people ask me, people who are skeptical about hypnosis maybe, or people who just want to know the insights of what can possibly happen within the session, why people seek a hypnotherapist help. So today, really, we are coming out here to share our experiences, internal experiences of what it's like to be in the session. The reason you have a session, what is the view of a therapist looking from outside in, and what is the view of a client who is in the session, in the hypnosis, you know, going into subconsciousness and bringing up this information. So I think it's a very unique video, and in terms of that, you will get the two perspectives.
Yeah.
And we're happy to share. So there were 2 sessions. I have received 2 sessions from Amanda.
So I'm just going to jump in and just say trigger warning in case as we go on, there's going to be talking of loss and grief, which, with the Queen's passing recently, and I know that can be a bit triggering for others. So just letting, put that trigger warning in place. So maybe stop listening now if you think you may be triggered.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. So where were we? I received 2 sessions from Amanda. Amanda received 1 session from me. So today we will concentrate on talking about one of my sessions, right? So Amanda will give the view of a therapist, and I will give the view of a client. So we'll start with why I asked Amanda and what Amanda was helping me with. For the first session, it was about knowing the greater purpose that was carrying on from my past lives. I just want to mention that this year, last year, 2021, was a tragic year for me, with a lot of heavy stuff happening, a lot of grief and loss. And at the same time, it was the year of COVID, and it's just not my personal grief and loss. It was intensified by the collective experiences. Here in Australia, we were quite lucky because we kind of caught the end of COVID, but the rest of the world, they've really gone through severe trauma, and a lot of lives were lost, and people are in grief, and they're still grieving. And now with the Queen passing on, so people who are carrying these dense feelings and unprocessed grief can be quite triggered. So the unconscious can be brought up, or the pain that you try to manage, or it can flare up.
Any unhealed wounds, basically, any unhealed wounds.
That's right. So even though I was dealing with grief and loss, there was this feeling of hopelessness for me. And also, maybe people don't know this about me, but I remember past lives, and not just in hypnosis. I spontaneously remember past lives, which is not a very unique skill. It's not actually a skill. This is a normal human experience. Once you'll unload a lot of trauma from your system, your perceptions become different. So you become to be able to perceive something the outside immediate awareness, and also remember things. So the past lives that I was remembering, some of them, or one particular past life, was connected very strongly to the work that I'm doing now. And there are certain difficulties relating to the work as a hypnotherapist and as a trauma worker, as a practitioner who works with the nervous system, with the internal energies of the body, and particularly with the dense trauma energies. So even though I was progressing very well in my work, helping a lot of people, I was getting stuck in terms of what's the point? You know, we do all this work, people die, and I remember the grief, not just the grief from this life, but what surprised me or what shocked me more, the grief from the past life, where I spontaneously started remembering my wife from the past life, and the feeling
and
of
your son as well.
That was kind of blurry. I think it came up in the session, but before the session, it's the wife who I was grieving her again. And when that happened, and I thought, hold on, I lost her so many lives before in that life, right? And now, why is it resurfacing? Why is it, yes, I lost people here in this life. Why is that grief so fresh?
Yeah.
What is happening? What is happening? So that's when I looked up Amanda, and I asked her to help me with that.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason when something comes up just for no reason, just to torture us. That's because there's something that wants to speak with us. Yeah. So that's the little bit of preview.
Yeah.
How do we take it from here?
Yes.
Do you want to share your?
Yeah, I can talk about
experience?
the scenes that came up. So in hypnotherapy, once the client is in hypnosis and we can access the subconscious mind, we go back to scenes that are all to do with, you know, the problem that we're experiencing. And I'd just like to also let you know that I didn't know that Tanya was connected to all this grief and loss prior to the session. When Tanya came to me, when you came to me for the session, it was all, it was about, you knew that you had something from a past life that needed to be healed, and that it's to do with your work that you're doing in this lifetime. So that's, it was to identify what the purpose of this lifetime was. And then, yeah, so within the scenes, you went back to the time when Tanya was working in her tribe. She was like the healer of the tribe, and it was her responsibility to heal, like as the medicine man. You were a medicine man, and you were to heal the whole tribe and keep them well. But then people started dying, including your wife and your son. And, you know, I guess that was the first point in your life that you experienced, or in your time that you experienced this massive grief that you just couldn't get over. And then as you progressed through the lifetimes, it was the theme of, well, everyone dies anyway, so what's the point? So Tanya's now got this conflicting, sorry, I didn't have my phone on silent. Tanya's now got this conflicting belief happening in her. And so the mind cannot hold conflicting beliefs. It is just not possible. How can you progress in life if Tanya, on the one hand, believes that there is no point, it is absolutely hopeless, no point in helping people, yet on the other hand, she's wanting to progress, being a therapist and help people? That it doesn't make sense. So we had to reframe this belief of hopelessness, and that, you know, that there is no point. And so we did that just by a lot of talking, a lot of interruptions, which are different various techniques that we use within the sessions. A bit too much to go into now, but if you did get a session, you would experience all that. But there's a range of different tools that we can use to interrupt this belief of hopelessness, which is what I did with Tanya. And prior to doing this interruption technique, Tanya visited the crypt of all of her past loved ones. And within the crypt, it was just dead. There was nothing. It was black. It was hopeless. There was no point. Then we went through the reframing process in the session. And after the reframing process, Tanya revisited the crypt. I asked her to go back in and, you know, check on her loved ones. And when she went back in there, she could see their souls again. She could see hope. She could see that, yes, she had lost her loved ones, but they do live on, you know, past that one, you know, when we're here on earth in one lifetime, it's a minuscule amount of time for the life of our soul. And, you know, we all reunite. If you believe in all of this, this is, you know, Tanya's experience. We can all reunite at the end of our journey. So it was important for Tanya to realize that no, they hadn't gone permanently, like that was it, that they still did exist out there in space and time. And so she saw hope of that again. And she realized that there is there is hope, and that like we can, by doing this work, to help people to heal, to do their own healing journey, that, you know, that there was hope in doing that, because even if someone does die in this lifetime, it's not a finality, you know, if that makes sense. And what was your experience of that feeling of hopelessness? Because that seemed to be the core belief that you are holding on to.
Yes, and this was very not typical for me, because ever since I remember myself, I remember this connection to something that you cannot see. Souls live on. When my grandmother died, or when my grandmother died, I had a sense that she's moving on, she's alive. Or my aunt, for example, I had very, very cute sense in terms of they are here, they are living, they keep living. But this time, I think the time in itself, then my personal grief comes, I lost people, then the past life resurfaced, and then this collective experience of the whole world basically going through the same things. So before working with you, for about 6 months, I was in that period when I was remembering the grief of the past life, processing the grief of the current life. And I had this, I think what I can describe it as an archetypal figure that followed me around. And it was like a huge, big shadow. And the sense I was getting from the shadow is that it's all lost. They all dead. They're all dead. And now looking back at that, I could understand that what it was, I was picking up the collective experiences as well. And I have to honor that and say, it's not them, it's all of us. We are in this together. So for us to process collective grief and to get the sense that souls do move on, there is hope. You know, it's not the end. The death is not the end. It's a transition, and a beautiful transition for that. Just going from one form to another, energy never disappears, and the soul moves on. So now looking at this as a patchwork, as a beautiful patchwork, and that's made of different experiences. There is this sense of, you know, collective belonging. We're all in this together. This is what it is. There is physical death. Yes, it is real. It is traumatic. Our body is going to go through its own experiences, and it needs to do that. And however you do that, it's your way. It's your time to be with the grief. But then at some point, we get stuck. If it continues for a long, long time, you see some people grieving for years and years, and just really going really down in their life. Yeah. So then you'll start thinking that you need hope. You need hope to move on. And you need a hope, and you need some kind of sense to perceive that the souls moved on. It was very important for me to understand that, because I could feel that my loved one were evolving. They were not stuck in the same shape and form as I remember them. And the hypnosis just confirmed that again. We get stuck. We're the one who gets stuck in the physical shape and form, getting stuck in the biological processing of grief. We need to process, but we also need to metabolize. We're not going to be the same. We're going to be different, but we will be filled with hope again, different kind of hope that will allow you to evolve while you're in the physical form. You allow your loved ones to keep their journey, keep on their journey, evolving in a different shape and form. Yeah. while you're still here, you're also evolving.
Yeah.
So the processing of grief, it's not just a personal thing, it's also a collective, because that's where we are now.
Yeah, and it absolutely is a natural emotion, a natural experience, a natural process. It is, as you say, it just becomes problematic when it's just keeping you stuck and you can't seem to move through that process. And although it's not linear, and although I guess it never ends, but it's finding that balance and that peace and that sense of hope for the future, you know, and sense of hope in your purpose as well. So, you know, that's, I guess it's when you are reaching that stuck point like you did, that's when it's important to seek help in whatever format that may be, or whatever modality works for you. And I do recall at the in the session, you said because when you said about the shadow in the session, you described it like it was a cocoon that was like almost suffocating you, but then towards the end of the session you'd come to a point where you could communicate with this cocoon. Oh, that's right, because a part of your purpose is to channel. So Tanya can channel. She can channel spirits. So if you don't know what a channeler is, it's somebody who it can communicate, a medium actually, I might even say, because Tanya can bring messages from other spirits direct through to our 3D reality. They speak through her. And that was something that you were struggling with because it was foreign and it was, would you say, scary?
It was annoying.
Annoying.
I just like to be left alone.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, you just kind of wanted to get on with your life and not have to deal with this whole channeling business. But yeah, so you were experiencing this cocoon that was like suffocating you because Tanya is a channeler and there was all these messages that were wanting to come through her and you were resisting it and you were feeling suffocated as a result. But when you we said, okay, well, let's try it out, didn't we?
Yeah, I remember. Now I remember that.
Yeah, now I remember
it out. Well.
Yes. Yeah, so we're like, okay, so let's try it out, invite some of these messages through. But what was really important was that Tanya set her boundaries. It's like, yes, I might be a channeler, and yes, my higher self who, you know, in spirit world or source world might be connected and bringing all these messages through. I'm still Tanya. I'm still in the body of Tanya here in this 3D world, and we need to respect her wishes and keep her comfortable, keep her feeling safe, keep her feeling comfortable, and allow things to be on her terms. So that way Tanya was able to identify and talk with this cocoon, because it's amazing how our mind brings up images or symbols to identify, make our 3D mind be able to identify what's actually going on. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so you were able to then communicate with the cocoon as to be like, yeah, I'm happy to do this now. And when I say stop, it stops, etc. And then so Tanya was able to feel a loosening of the cocoon, like a relief from that. Do you remember all that? And did the shadow leave after the sessions?
The shadow was not something that was following me or bugging me. It was the knowing of this is what it is. This is what is happening in the world. It's like picking up the signal of the current transmission. That's what's around the world. That's how things are. But the thing what you mentioned now, the boundaries, it was more of you helping and negotiating with whatever was present during that time and space, was bringing the awareness of my own awareness as a human being who is this age, who lives in this place, who does these things, bringing my awareness to the fact that I do have power. I am the source of power. I am its person. It's my personal decision, my personal choice. And the big shift for me is that I don't have to be annoyed about my own talents or my own capabilities. And at the same time, I don't have to hide from them. It is what it is. If I can work with trauma and be fascinated by dense energies and wanting to communicate with them, just like a child, I feel myself like a child. It's so cool. Let's go there. Let's talk to this. What's happening there? Yeah. So why am I so negligent of the other part of me, of the other side of me? So that gave me that brought a lot of sense of peace and awareness and understanding of my own power. So it's really basically putting it all together like a big puzzle. So not any part of you is unbalanced. So the more you're aligned, the more you're balanced, the more you're harmonized, is you can't hide from a part of you that is active, that is working, that probably learned over many, many centuries or over many lives. It has this code of knowledge that wants to unpack. It's like fighting against yourself. So that was creating those boundaries, because we're in 3D world, as Amanda likes to say, creating the boundaries and framing. This is okay. This is my new map now. This is my new map. It's not outdated anymore. Okay, I sort of caught up. I updated it. Let's move on. What's next? Okay. So that's really what we're doing as hypno practitioners, is that whatever is not working, let's update it. Let's understand why it was working, why it was created, what is it doing now, why is it still working, and how it is a burden now, which was never intentionally its function. It was created to help you survive, but now it becomes a burden because it's outdated.
Holding you back. And then like an important part of that process is the recording. So in the recording that I made for Tanya, it was a lot about having hope for the future again, or having hope in healing people and in work that she is doing. But also there was a lot in there about Tanya instilling those boundaries and feeling safe and supported in her role as a therapist and as a channeler. And so listening to that recording, and what Tanya and I both found with listening to our recordings is that each time you listen, it's like a little bit more of you becomes activated, or a bit like you just get that bit more peace, or you feel a bit like you can even feel the energy shifts happening within the body as you're listening to the recording. So it's really rewiring your mind, or, you know, that outdated belief that is now a burden, making it a current belief that is supportive of your way forward.
I agree. The recording was super helpful, and we know from the research that it takes at least 21 days to install new habits. And the little bits and pieces of the recording and the frequency or the vibrational aspects of your transformation are super important, and that's what a hypnotherapist can do for you. Well, Amanda can do that, I can do that, and many other people are able to put that intention into the recording, which would picked up from your own session, from what you brought up as important for you at this stage. So we can create that new map, we can put it, and we say, okay, this is the new roadmap. Let's look at that. It's a bit larger than what you used to, because it's maybe richer, but you will just get used to the terrain. This is just new terrain for 21 days. Go here, there, explore. There are new bits and pieces of this map, and then after 21 days, you go. You become more integrated and more friends with your own power. More accepting of yourself. It's basically more of yourself.
100%, yes. And then also just like to touch on in the session with Tanya as well, is that, yeah, so she started channeling in the session. And with that, she was channeling messages both for herself and for me. So then she was able to bring forth information that I needed to hear from source through her channel, through your vessel. So that was just really interesting.
Yeah, that's an extra bonus, right?
Yeah, an extra bonus.
Yeah,
100%.
it happens. It's actually not that rare when clients start channeling for themselves and for the therapist. Yeah,
I would almost say a hypnotherapy session is channeling, because you're speaking with your subconscious mind, your higher self, you're touching into your soul self, and it all is a channeling experience. It's just a matter of who you connect with, or what you connect with, and what you bring through.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Well, that was from us today. I think we're good, and we have to let the busy woman go, take care of her 3 kids under the age of 4.
Yes. busy. Yeah.
Yes, very busy. Thank you so much. I hope this is useful. If you want to connect with Amanda, there will be a link to her website. Yeah, you can also find her on Facebook, and she has her own group, Facebook private group.
Oh yeah, I'll link that one as well.
Yeah, we'll link that one. If you want to connect with me, check out my website, and let's see what comes up after this. Yeah.
And I think we'll do another recording on your session at a later date.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely, we can do that if people are interested. But even though we just can put it out, and I'm sure it's helpful, and anybody who's going through grief and loss, hang in there. I know it's not proper to say it's gonna pass, but what I would like to put out there is that it's your process. Appreciate it, respect yourself, give your system the way to process it, because it's very clever, it's very wise. Also seek support. Do not be with this by yourself. I know people who are grieving, they like to be by themselves. That was my experience. And well, it is a process, but it's something is happening. Yeah, the energy is moving. It just needs to move, as long as you don't get stuck in it for a long time. Right.
And if it does feel overwhelming, like, it absolutely can become manageable. And if sometimes you do need to, often, I mean, grief is one of those really dense emotions that often you do need to seek professional help in order to make it manageable. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Remember, you are not alone. There is help out there, and please take care of yourselves.
Yeah.
All right. Well, saying bye to Amanda, and bye to our lovely audience.
Have a great afternoon or evening.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.